I was going to hit her really hard on the trail today, but now I don't have to because she's off. She's off. No, I can't get over it. Who the hell takes off? We have 14 days left.
All right, I must admit, Kamala Harris's campaign started off great with a lot of promise. It was impressive, a wave of excitement and high hopes from the Democratic establishment. She was positioned as the next big thing, a fresh face with the right credentials. The media hyped her up as a trailblazer, and her early appearances were carefully crafted to present her as a tough, charismatic leader ready to carry the Democratic torch into the future. But now, her campaign is collapsing, and the cracks are showing, and with 2 weeks left, she's stumbling into the finish line.
And she'll take a couple of more days off, too. You know why? She's lazy as hell, and she's got that reputation. She's a radical left lunatic. She's further left than Bernie Sanders or Pocahontas. Now, Pocahontas, because I think, is Pocahontas further left than Bernie? Just about, right? It's close. It's close. Who the hell cares, right? Rick says, I don't know. But they're out there. But she's furthest left.
Kamala Harris, she's taking the day off. She's going to spend all day just to prepare for an NBC interview, which will be taped. Of course, this would be like, you're a football coach, this would be like 2 weeks before the national championship if you decide not to practice. Does this make sense to you?
Well, I think they're just trying to keep her off camera, to be honest with you. She's been a disaster. Her poll numbers keep going down. Donald Trump is the Energizer Bunny. I mean, he does not quit. I mean, he keeps going and going and going. You know, he's called me before at 2 or 3 in the morning. Coach, what are you doing? I said, I'm sleeping. What are you doing? He sleeps 2 or 3 hours a night, but he loves what he's doing. He loves the country. He's our only chance. We can't lose this. We can't have another 4 years of this nonsense of spending money that we don't have, of all the things that are going on in foreign wars. He will get us out of the wars. He will get us back to spending the right way. But we've got to get an identity back in our country. Right now, we don't have an identity, and the Democrats are all to blame for it because they pushed all this agenda that is totally nonsense.
Meanwhile, you got Donald Trump's campaign as strong as it's ever been, strategically positioning themselves as the candidate for the American people. Even CNN knows what Trump is doing is extraordinary.
I have to say, when I first saw that image of Trump kind of hanging out the drive-through window, a part of me thought, wow, is that real? I never thought he would do something like that. The Trump that we saw in 1999 in that old ad is the one that was much more familiar to me. Like, look, we're going to run this town, right? Like someone who owns a McDonald's, not someone who works in one. I mean, clearly they have a strategy to try to appeal to working class voters, try to, twist the knife on Harris. But I still found these images to be jarring.
Well, part of what is so striking about them is that he's not trying to not be Donald Trump. Like some politicians go and they try to dress up as somebody they're not. He's still got the red tie. He's still so clearly himself. And I think this was an unbelievably smart move because one thing that has differentiated Donald Trump from other really wealthy politicians is that he has never been seen as the aloof, the billionaire who would never deign to hang out with the commoners. Like, he has always sort of portrayed himself as, I'm the rich guy who doesn't really like the other rich guys. I'm one of you. And this is part of this. I think this was insanely smart.
Her early momentum also got a huge boost from the media, which initially covered for her missteps and failures. But even that protective bubble started to burst as it became harder to hide the lack of leadership and tangible results. Her approval ratings began to slip. And not just among Republicans, Democrats and independents started to have their doubts too. Voters wanted to see action on key issues, like the economy, crime, and inflation, but instead they got vague speeches and photo ops.
Kamala Harris is not a godsend, all right? You people didn't even like her 6 months ago. Now all of a sudden, she's black female Jesus, the way Obama was black Jesus. And let me tell you something. He had a lot more going for him than Kamala Harris does. And not just as firsts go, but his type of campaigning, his type of persuasion, his charisma, okay? He was imbued with things that she is not. And I don't mean that as a criticism, it's just a point of comparison. And her process fucked her also. There's a convenience in it, but it fucked her also. Because there are a lot of misgivings about her. There's an underlying feeling that she didn't get this the right way. She may not have won a primary. She didn't even make it to the first round of primaries when she did run. And that is both fair and unfair at the same time. But look, this idea of don't say anything bad about her because Trump, I don't buy that. I don't buy that. And it's not how you get to a better place. It's a relative assessment. She has negatives, so does he. Does he have more? Yeah. He also has a way more intense following. That's why this race is so tight. Now explain that to me. Unless you want to write off half this country as bigots, how do you explain it being so tight? Maybe you're not as right about everything as you think you are. Maybe you should be a little bit more open to the people that you disagree with. Maybe they're not all racists.
Ultimately, Kamala's campaign started off strong because it was built on media hype and her historic firsts. But now that the gloss has worn off, people are seeing the real issues: her inability to lead, her out-of-touch policies, and her struggles to connect with the voters she needs most. She can't even answer questions about her own policies without bringing up Trump.
How can we protect the health of both Social Security and Medicare without reducing the benefits?
Thank you.
So, first of all, thank you for your question. Actually, just today, I believe it was, within the last 24 hours or so, an independent review of Donald Trump's policy on Social Security has indicated that under his policy, Social Security would become insolvent in 6 years. And what I and you and I think most of us know is that we have many, many seniors in our country where their Social Security check is their only form of income. It's everything and the only thing they have to live on, to pay rent, groceries, all of that. And so we must protect Social Security. If you look at Donald Trump's Project 2025, the plan that they have if he is elected or re-elected president, it would attack Social Security, it would attack Medicare. And back to the point about just what is in the interest of dignity. The President of the United States should have as one of their highest concerns the dignity of the American people. And in particular, those who have lived a productive life, who deserve to be able to retire and go into their senior years with the dignity of not worrying about whether they're going to have a roof over their head or be able to eat. So my plan includes what we need to do to strengthen the solvency of Social Security. It includes what we're going to need to do and work with Congress to make sure we're putting more into it. And it cannot be about cutting benefits, because right now those benefits are barely adequate as it is.
So basically the plan is to not have one. Got it.